All right, guys, so in this video, I'm going to share with you the 7 things that I would never sell on eBay. Now, a couple of these items you can sell on eBay, and a couple of these items you'll definitely get kicked off or banned if you attempt to sell them on eBay. So I'll preface each one with why I'm not going to sell it if it's illegal or if I feel that it's better to sell it somewhere else. But with that being said, let's dive into this video. And before we get in, be sure to do me a big favor and smash that like button, show some love down in the comments. So the first item that I would never sell on eBay are textbooks and specific types of books. Now, the reason why I would never sell it on eBay is because from my experience, I've found that you can typically sell textbooks much faster on Amazon FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, and you can usually get anywhere from 30 upwards to 200% more, depending on the book on Amazon FBA. Now, I'm not talking about selling as a merchant on Amazon. I'm talking about the FBA program. You can get really good profits for books on Amazon FBA. They sell very quick. Just go onto YouTube and type in Raiken profit selling books on Amazon. I've got a ton of videos about this. I've taught my mom. I've taught hundreds of people on YouTube how to do this. But yeah, there are certain books that you can sell on eBay, especially books that are restricted on Amazon or books that don't have a listing on Amazon. Sometimes large book sets that aren't on Amazon or vintage collectible books, those tend to do a little bit better on eBay. But for the most part, when you go to thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, auctions, most of those books are going to typically do better on Amazon. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to sell 80% of the books on eBay. Item number 2, and this is a big one that gets a lot of people kicked off and they get their accounts suspended on eBay, is selling items like Chanel and Gucci and Louis Vuitton. I'm talking about handbags, certain clothing items, wallets, shoes. You need to be very careful to make sure that you authenticate items that are in this realm if you're going to put them on eBay, especially if you have a brand new account and you're just getting started. You're going to get flagged instantly by eBay if you just sign up and you start trying to sell all these high-end, commonly counterfeited items. So be very careful. Even if your item is real, you still might get suspended. You still might get your account flagged on eBay because there's just so many of these items that are fake on the market. So I don't touch these items for the most part. I don't pretend to be an expert. I've sold items before that I've authenticated. I've sold items before that I've asked friends, so on and so forth, and they said it was real, and then I ended up having issues and negative feedback and dealing with returns and issues with my metrics. So be very careful with these items. Most people get started and they start looking around their house and they see that Chanel handbag or that Gucci or that high-end Italian designer item or that Supreme t-shirt, and they're not 100% sure if it's real or not, and maybe they do some research, maybe they don't, they list it, and then boom, you get smacked up by eBay. So be very careful selling high-end items, clothing, shoes, handbags on eBay. You've got to be careful. Go onto eBay and type in how to authenticate fill in the blank, whatever brand you have, whatever type of item. There's tons of resources that you can be on the lookout for. Number 3, this one's cracks me up a little bit looking at the picture. Used underwear. Okay, so be very careful selling used underwear. There's a lot of weirdos like the guy in this picture right now. And, back in the day, you'd be able to, buy used underwear. And there's people, I've done videos before where people will buy like used jock straps, used socks, all types of used weird items for men and women. Be very careful doing this on eBay. I was just looking through the eBay policy, and you are not allowed to sell used underwear based on my research. So you might not be a weirdo, you might not be a creep, but just know that these items are restricted. Selling them on eBay, you might be able to get a lot of money for these items, but don't do it on eBay. You're gonna get your account suspended. You're gonna get kicked off. Be extremely careful. If you just type in used clothing eBay policy, you can do some research in terms of what's allowed and what's not allowed, but be very careful with this item on eBay. So number 4, you want to be careful for these types of items. There's a lot of restrictions. There's a lot of issues that you can deal with on eBay, and there's different state rules and regulations selling these types of items. So be very, very careful. I'm not going to say the word in this video because YouTube has a way of censoring videos now, so on and so forth, but just look on the screen and take a look at these items. You want to be very careful not to sell them on eBay, and even though you might legally be allowed to sell some of these BB items, there's different laws. I know New York has a very strict law in terms of selling these types of items. I've had friends that have tried to drop ship them. They've gotten in trouble. So be very careful. Go to the eBay policy, look up the G word right now, and you'll get an idea of what you can do and what you can't do. But I stay away from this stuff all day long. It's just too risky. Number 5, untested electronics. Be very careful selling untested electronics. Be careful with these items because they have a tendency to not work. They have a tendency to cause a lot of returns, and you might pay for shipping, and next thing you know, it doesn't work and you have to get it sent back to you. If you're going to sell items that are electronics, test them. Make sure they work. Obviously, you could sell them untested, but you want to tell them it's untested or used or for parts. Parts is the keyword you want to use. Just know, even if they are working, you still might get a lot of returns on these items. Even though they're high margin, I love selling used electronics on eBay, but I don't really love selling untested because they don't typically go for a lot of money. Some of them do, but for the most part, they don't. And even electronics in general, you want to be careful with because there's just a high return rate. And what I was getting at is a lot of people, they won't understand how to use it. So the item might be working 100% perfectly, but they don't understand how to turn it on. They don't understand how to put it together if there's multiple pieces, and where to plug this in, batteries to use, so on and so forth. I know it sounds like common sense, but there's a lot of people out there with, dealing with things such as computers and radio systems and, musical instruments, different things in the electronic category. You just got to be careful with because people just don't understand how to use them. Printers, that's another great example. I've had printers I've sold that worked great, and then they get it and they say it doesn't work, and then they ship it back and it works, and the reason is because they didn't download the drivers. So just be very careful with used electronics. Untested, let them know that it's untested. If it's working, let them know it's working. If you can print out a manual for how to use it and ship it with them, you might reduce the return rate, but definitely some things to keep in mind. Number 6, certain tobacco products. So you might be thinking, what's the policy on tobacco products? Well, there's certain items you can sell and there's certain items you can't sell. So the policy states that the following or similar items are not allowed: cigarettes, cigars, loose tobacco, herbal cigarettes, which I'm not even sure what that is. I don't know if that's like the MJ. Herbal tobacco, sometimes called nicotine-free tobacco-free cigarettes or shisha. Electronic nicotine delivery systems. So e-cigarettes, e-liquids, e-cigarette parts, those are not allowed, which I was surprised. I mean, I'm sure you find them on eBay and people are getting away with it, but be careful with that stuff. And accessories for e-cigarettes. The following exceptions can be listed: collectible vintage packages, nicotine patches or gum, and tobacco seeds. So definitely keep in mind if you're coming across any type of tobacco-related product, bowls, bongs, you got to be careful with your keywords. I don't sell these items just because I don't like selling glassware on eBay because it's just a lot of damages, a lot of things get broken when you ship it, so on and so forth. I mean, I won't say I'll never sell glassware, but it's one of those things that I'm not in love with selling just because you got to be so careful. But that's the scoop on cigarettes and tobacco products, so on and so forth. And last but not least, partially used cosmetics. You do not want to sell partially used cosmetics. So you can sell brand new cosmetics, but if a cosmetic's been opened, or for example, we've been doing a lot of liquidation, we've been buying pallets, there's been items that are Amazon returns or eBay returns that are coming in these pallets, and we're finding cosmetics that are opened. Now, we're not sure if they're used or not, but once an item's seal is broken and it's open, it's technically used. So you do need to be careful. Can you get away with selling something that's used, because it's open but no one's ever used it? You could, but you just got to be careful. I had one more that I wanted to share with you, but it looks like I didn't add it. And what it is endangered plants and certain seeds. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you can sell plants on Amazon, on eBay, but only certain ones. The same with seeds as well. And you might be thinking, Steve, what the heck? I don't want to sell this type of stuff. It ain't going to make me any money. You'd be surprised. Go on Amazon, go on eBay, and take a look up plants. Now, I'm not an expert in this area, so do your own research, but there's some really, really interesting concepts and ideas that you might want to take a look at when it comes to selling these types of items. I know I have a friend of mine, he sells dirt on Amazon. He makes over $5,000 a month selling this specific type of dirt. Now, go do your own research. I know this isn't an Amazon video, but the same probably apply on eBay as well. So those are the 7 things that I would never sell on eBay. Again, some of these items will get you banned, others won't. They just typically sell better in other areas, other platforms, such as maybe Amazon or Facebook Marketplace, so on and so forth. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, do me a big favor and smash that like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what are some other items that can get you banned. What are some other items that you refuse to sell on eBay? I would love to know, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.